All right, yeah, so we got an update that released today. 2K sent out this post saying today's NBA 2K26 update for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S includes preparations for Season 6. In case you guys don't know, Season 6 launches this Friday, April 3rd at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And if you guys want to get a first look at everything Season 6 has to offer, you could tune in to 2K's live streams on Twitch where they'll show you guys the first look. As with every season update, I'll be giving you guys the information here so you could come back here on Wednesday. And when the season drops on Friday, I'll also be going live to show you guys everything in Season 6. Also, I just want to put this out there. If you're interested in improving your gameplay, you can participate in our tryouts, hosted only in the AllCity 2K Discord. We're also hosting a bunch of tournaments and daily 10s. It's a whole vibe, and you guys are welcome to join. The link for our Discord will be in the description below. In this video, we're talking about removing the pure green window and bringing back RNG into your shooting. Imagine your shooting percentage right now on NBA 2K26 and cutting that in half. Now, I want to preface this by saying I am not a fan of adding RNG back into shooting, especially the way in which 2K decided to have randomness in your shooting. There was like a whole mini game taking place behind the scenes within the coding that you guys couldn't even see for every single shot you took. Do you guys remember that the good folks over at NBA 2K Lab ran a test on your shooting green windows? They created this graph that you're seeing on screen of how much your green window was shifting, and you guys couldn't even see a shift in your green window. All you were thinking was, let me master my shot timing or my shot timing visual cue. 2K's RNG rendered that concept and idea of mastering your jump shot and learning your jump shot timing, they rendered that absolutely useless. Through NBA 2K Lab's testing, they ended up creating this graph of your green window shifting on every single shot when RNG was in shooting. I ended up adding a little more depth to 2K Lab's testing by defining the amount of milliseconds your green window was actually shifting. Now, logically, help me understand how a player is going to manage to hit that green window that's shifting 10 milliseconds one direction, back and forth for about 3 or 4 shots, and then shifting 40 plus milliseconds completely out the way of what you've been accustomed to on your next 3 shots. And keep in mind that a shooting green window on average is about 40 milliseconds. 2K basically said if you were comfortable with a 10 millisecond shift, what would the players do if we shifted it completely out of their shot timing visual cue? Naturally, players are gonna miss more. I could understand it better if there was an animation that was playing on screen that had you hit the mark of a shifting green window, but no, this was all happening behind 2K's RNG, behind 2K shooting randomness. Not to mention the graph on the left side, which showcased the difference between shooting with the stick or shooting with the button. The green window for stick shooters was like double the size, giving them a huge advantage to hitting a shifting green window. I also just want to put this out there, 2K didn't tell us anything about this. And if it wasn't for the testing from 2K Labs, we would have never known. There ain't no way that I'd want RNG back in shooting. People are calling for them to remove our pure green window. That's madness. A big part of me feels like 2K consistently affects the offense to accommodate the lack of mechanics within the defense. I'm feeling like fix the real issue, 2K. It's the defense. The shot contest system, it's screwed, and 2K, they just got a lot of work to do. I want to reference some of these older posts on the polarizing issue of shooting and RNG. SEBA, the Staten Island Basketball Association, sent out this post saying bring back RNG and ghost contests, shrink that green window, remove the stick shooting buff contests, nerf threes. And you guys remember how in the third quarter the game used to be hella erratic? Depending on which side of the court you're on, your players will all of a sudden start shooting only 20% from 3. SEBA caps off this post by saying nobody should ever shoot a higher percentage than Steph Curry career. Personally, I disagree. It's a video game, and in a video game there should be parameters set to help us understand how to accomplish certain goals. This helps us understand how to be more successful at hitting more shots. If the whole thing is random, then why do I hit the lab to practice on learning my shot timing visual cue? I'll reference this post from Dimework. He said dudes wanted shooting to be harder. In quotes, he said it needs to be green or miss. We get green or miss. Now it's in quotes, you shouldn't have to green every shot. That's not realistic. In this next post, the post that I'm more in agreement with, Badge Plug says the real shooting skill gap isn't rolling a dice every time you perfectly time your shot. RNG. The real skill gap would be being able to green every wide open shot, but having a smaller green window than other games. And that green window will get even smaller based on the contest and the rating. On NBA 2K26, I play the point guard position, and I run with a lot of players who currently miss wide open shots. I know because I take pride in passing and getting assists. I can instantly tell the players who lab it up and the players who don't. And to me, that means that currently there is a skill gap in shooting. Why do we need to mess with that? In this next post, post, I'm hoping that it discourages the idea of bringing back RNG into shooting. Badgeplug says RNG in shooting is a problem. Imagine having a 99 3-point shot, wide open, in lethal, off legend dimer, and perfect timing, you'll still miss 1 to 3 shots out of every 10 that you take. He continues to say you should never be penalized for perfectly timing your shot, especially when you have a high rating. Badge offers a solution. He says if Mike Wang really wants to have lower shooting percentages than previous years, the best way to do that is to not have randomness in shooting and just give players a smaller green window to increase that skill gap. Badge basically caps off the post saying cheaters are going to cheat and the players should never be penalized for the lack of effort put into 2K's anti-cheat. For the sake of context, I'll reference this post that Mike Wang has sent out. He says this is really what it boils down to. If anyone has ideas for a better option than these two, I'd love to hear them. We had 2 options for shooting. Number 1, keep pure green windows with no RNG, which means for the sake of balance, the windows need to be pretty small so that good players don't shoot 80 to 90% from 3. But this makes shooting very difficult for casual players. In the second option, Mike says, go back to bigger green windows that are easier for most people to hit, but cap the excellent timing boost, reintroduce RNG to keep the game balanced. He says this is how 2K shooting has basically worked for the past 20 years. Now, what I took away from this is that when you have a pure green window, like we have in NBA 2K26, it proves to be more difficult for casual shooters. And like I had mentioned earlier, I run with a bunch of different casuals and I see them miss wide open shots. But when I play with higher skill players, they barely miss. A product of good shot selection and mastering the timing on your jump shot. Now, it's absolute facts. The good majority of the player base, they're casuals. And not everybody has the time to hit the lab and master their shot time. But if we add randomness and RNG back into shooting, which is preferred by casuals and easier for casuals to shoot, as referenced in Mike Wang's post, I feel like a couple things end up happening. Firstly, we shrink the skill gap. With RNG incorporated, if it's easier for casuals to shoot, the differences between a casual and sweat slowly become non-existent. Also, the second thing I feel that happens is the whole process of a player hitting the lab, practicing, learning their jump shot, mastering their timing, basically practicing to get better, is undermined by randomness. And that's all done to keep balance within the player base, not the game. To me, RNG basically takes away competitiveness. We'll all be at the mercy of 2K, and 2K will determine the outcome of games. Now, I don't want to come across dismissive. For casuals, I feel your pain with NBA 2K26 having a pure green window with no RNG. I understand why y'all would want RNG back in shooting, but me personally, I'm a player that likes to play 2K more often. I love to practice and get better. It's a core fundamental aspect of basketball. It helps bring me back to my heyday when I was out there IRL practicing in them early mornings. And nothing seems more rewarding than successfully executing everything you practice. Adding RNG back into shooting completely disregards this fundamental aspect of basketball. But as always, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Do you want 2K to really bring back RNG and remove that pure green window? Sound off, share them in the comment section below. If any of you are new here, consider dropping a like and a sub on your way out. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Easy, y'all.